Yo, mga kabayo, what's up, and welcome to Inay Thank You, our time and space to learn life lessons from lessons about life. From last time, we learned that different environments give rise to very different looking creatures. If you go to a hot place, you're going to see creatures that look hot. And if you go to a cooler place, then you're going to see creatures that look cool. To say that a creature looks different because it lives in a different place doesn't really answer the question completely. What is it about the place that has to make a creature look different? And more importantly, why won't that same look apply in a different place? Let's build on this as our scenario, except that we are going to put you on a hot summer beach, bam, and then you in Antarctica. You're probably going to look very different. Of course, you're not suddenly going to grow fur. You will have a jacket, or maybe, or 2, or 3, or 4 in Antarctica. The job of the jacket is to keep you alive by keeping you warm. And if you lived on a tropical beach wearing the exact same jacket, you would probably overheat and maybe die. Hopefully not, but you'd have the sense to take off the jacket. You don't need the jacket anymore, because if anything, it becomes detrimental to your survival on a tropical beach. This example scenario illustrates that form fulfills a certain function. Jacket functions to keep you warm. We define form as both the anatomical and the physiological design of an organism. Ano yung itsura ng katawan mo from outside up until the inside. Yun yung iyong form. Yung itsura mo. Okay? Some forms will function better in certain environments, while others won't. That's why we see different forms in different places, because they are trying to fulfill certain functions in these particular places that only these certain forms can fulfill. Different forms of living organisms are designed to help them survive in their respective environments for as long as they can. Why survive? Remember, our purpose is to spread the energy of the universe, and the best way to keep on doing that is to stay alive and to make more copies of yourself, and for them to stay alive and create more entropy in the universe. How does an organism survive in an environment? Do you just live in a bubble, float around, and just expect to live? Not quite. You are going to have to interact with your environment. The planet Earth, the physical planet Earth, has the stuff that life needs. And what are these things that life needs? Ewan. As in, ewan. Energy, water, air, nutrients. Ewan.
Kala mo kung ano, kala mo hindi ko alam?
Bakit mo kailangan ng energy? Energy is what makes you move, what makes plants grow. Everything is fueled by energy. Life is sustained by energy. Bakit mo kailangan ng water? Because water is what chemistry books would say is the universal solvent of life. A lot of the chemical processes that happen inside our bodies that help generate energy, that help maintain our bodies, so on and so forth, those need to interact with water. Bakit mo kailangan ng air? In 3, 2, 1.
A few moments later.
Kailangan pa ba explain yun? Nutrients. What are nutrients? Molecules and atoms that our body needs to build itself. Kumbaga, kung magagawa ka ng isang bahay, kailangan mo ng semento, kahoy, pako, ero, hollow blocks. Those are the nutrients, the building blocks. Nutrients come from non-living stuff. Non-living being things that are not alive, and non-living also that they're no longer alive. And the thing with ewan, kahit ewan lang siya, the earth will not just hand it to all these living creatures easily.
Like here's all the A1 you need.
Organisms have to be able to get ewan within certain limits. And ano tong mga limits na to? Topless. Grabe te. Topless. Uy! Temperature. You can get all the energy, water, air, and nutrients that you want, but you have to be in a temperature where you can actually survive. Yung others, competition. Yes, there's ewan everywhere, except everyone else wants the ewan too. Makikipag-agawan kayo sa ewan.
I just want one pack. No, not one pack.
Planetary movements. You have to work within the constraints of how the Earth moves, with the shape of the Earth, overall, just how the Earth is and how the Earth is doing its thing. Because of the Earth's rotation, we have day and night. Because of the Earth's tilting, wobbling, the revolution, so you have seasons. With the movement of the moon, you also have the tides. All of these things that are happening on a larger scale affect what's happening on the surface of the Earth. Di pa nga natin nabanggit yung mga plate tectonics, volcanic activity, mga ganon, typhoons. Organisms are going to have to just cope with those things. Kunyari, mangingisda ka, kailangan mo ng isda para makakain. Pero syempre, kailangan susunod ka sa galaw ng Earth. Pay attention to the tides, you have to pay attention to whether or not there's a storm. Kunyari, ako yung halaman, di ba? Tas kailangan ko ng light. That's the next thing we're gonna talk about. So they can't stop the Earth from moving and say,
Earth, stop rotating because I need to do sunbathing.
no, it doesn't work that way. The Earth will keep rotating. Light. In relation to planetary movements, that has a lot to do with day and night. For photosynthetic organisms that require sunlight, that means that, again, they're going to have to do something else with their time when there's no light. For creatures that use light to navigate in their environments, light is also a limiting factor in the sense that, yes, there's energy, water, air, nutrients everywhere, but if you can't see where the hell you are going, then you're probably not going to find it. Or if you don't have the necessary tools to perform the function of getting as much light and turning that into signals to your brain to interpret as there's something here outside that I need that I can get, then nothing's going to happen. Electromagnetic fields. So that has a lot to do with electricity, also the actual electromagnetic field of the Earth. Just the repulsion of the electrons on your hands helps you to actually grasp things, helps matter to exist the way it does. I'm not a physicist, so I'm just gonna be very vague about that. But for example, there are certain migratory species that are said to rely on electromagnetic fields to navigate. So if you're migrating from point A to point B, supposedly to find ewan, you're going to need a little bit of help from the electromagnetic field that the Earth generates. Sound. So paano kung wala kang mata? Or what if it's pitch dark? What if it's nighttime? For many animals, they also utilize sound as a way to find the things that they need. If you're a predator and you hear rustling in the bushes, probably something that you could eat, then hey, why not? Space is another limiting factor. Why? The Earth is a finite thing. It has just a certain amount of surface area for life to live. Because you, as a form of matter, you take up space. You're made of molecules, all of these things that take up space. And if we line up all the life on Earth and cram it into a small space, it's not going to be possible. So tapos na yung topless. But there's one more. Gravity. Hindi ka pa natapos. Gravity. What about gravity? Isipin nyo na lang kung walang gravity. There's energy, there's water, there's air, there's nutrients everywhere. But if you are slowly floating away from the planet Earth, what's the whole point? You can't even get to it because you're like floating away. And you're going to fucking die. That's it. Kung maka-gravity, parang kala mo end of the world. Pero totoo, gravity is very important. Gravity is what literally holds everything together. From single-celled organisms like bacteria to large multicellular organisms like us or dinosaurs or whales, you might start to think, is there a perfect form?
Oh yeah.
Is there a form that helps you get the most ewan? Well, it might not seem obvious at first because of how diverse all life on Earth looks. The design that life takes tends to optimize its surface area to volume ratio.
Raw? Bakit ano na naman to?
Surface area is the amount of surface that you have that is exposed to the environment. Say, for example, this hand. You have this area and this area that's exposed to the environment. When I spread my fingers, you not have just this area, you not just have this area, but you have this area as well in between the fingers. Just by doing that, you have increased your surface area, the area of your body that is exposed to the environment. Yung area nung surface mo. Ganon, surface area. Volume is how much space you take up. And almost all forms of life will just tend to stick to the best ratio of how much area there is that you have to expose to the environment to get what you need, and also how much space you take up. If you increase your surface area to volume ratio, so that means for a given volume, you expose so much surface to the environment. What does that grant? What special perks are there? That allows you to have more access to whatever is out there that you need. Ewan. Kasi mas marami ka ng galagalamay, di ba? Mas abot-abot mo na. Kaysa yung lahat ng mga pinagkakakalat mong galamay mo, kinumpul mo lang sa isang tipak. It's the same volume, but there's less surface area. There's just less access to whatever is outside that you need. But if you instead just take the same volume and spread it out into smaller strands and pieces, those strands and pieces might be able to find ewan in different places than they would if they were just one consolidated volume. However, the drawback is, of course, if you have a lot more of you outstretched in different parts, then that means you're more prone to attack. You're also prone to losing whatever it is that you've gained, because you're not a closed system. You're interacting with the environment always. If you are a plant that needs water, you have a lot of roots everywhere, but at the same time you also have leaves na kalat-kalat din, and those have pores that also lose water. Roots are increasing the surface area, the leaves are increasing the surface area, but then at the same time, the roots are getting water, but the leaves are losing water. On the other hand, what if you go the other direction? What if you decrease your surface area to volume ratio? That means you just bunch yourself up. You don't expose a lot of yourself into the environment. That means you get to keep whatever you have a lot longer. Nasa North Pole ka, at nag-iisa ka, at malamig. Anong gagawin mo? Gaganon ka ba? Your fingers would turn into ice and just break off. What do? You curl up. What are you doing? You're decreasing your surface area. You have the same volume, but you have decreased your surface area. And that helps you to survive. That helps you to keep heat. That helps you to preserve your temperature. The disadvantage of that is that, of course, you get to keep it up. It also takes a while to lose what you need to lose. Because whatever is at the center, is at the core, it'll take a while before it can actually escape to the surface, and that's why you can't really see super gigantic cells. What about the cellular waste that's right smack in the middle of the cell? It's gonna take a while before it actually gets out, and at the same time, it'll take a while for the things that need to go in to get into the cell. It sheds light on why trees aren't infinitely tall, or why cells are insanely small, why roots and fur look fuzzy, and why whales and cacti look clunky to keep what you need and decay at slow speed. A life of longevity perpetuates entropy to pull the universe apart. You have to look the part. We learned today that we look different because the places where we live in require a certain design to perform a certain function to help you survive. That's like your ticket, the form or the appearance or the design that is necessary to do what you have to do to get what you need to get in that place. And the things that you need to survive are ewan. However, to get ewan, you have to jump through hoops and hurdles, which we call topless gravity. To be able to pull this off, you have to have the perfect form. What is the perfect form when all life looks so diverse? Each place presents a different scenario in which you will require a different type of surface area to volume ratio. The diversity of life is trying to play around that magic ratio of what is enough surface area for me to get ewan within the constraints of topless gravity. O paano naman kayo mga kabayo? What life lessons have you learned today? And if there's anything I missed, please go ahead and tell me. Leave it in the comments below as well. Let me know what you guys think. As always, if you'd like to learn more, I'm gonna leave some links here at the side, and I hope that you guys enjoyed a little bit of something today. And that's it, Pansit. Kita-kits mga bagits. Inay. Thank you. Ay, sorry. Inay. Thank you.